Welcome to the Queens of the DMV, Real Talk and Real Estate. I'm one of your co-hosts, Cher Castillo. I'm here with my co-host, Arnita Greene.
Hi.
And Arial Pegues.
Hey.
We're so happy to be back, and we are talking about marriage and money today. But before we start, please always check us out and subscribe to the Queens of the DMV on YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram.
Awesome.
So today we are talking about Arnita's favorite new show, Marriage and Money. So I'm going to let her dive right in and tell us a little bit about this new Netflix series and how it's stirring up the real estate market right now.
I know. Okay, y'all. Well, first of all, I've missed you ladies. Seriously,
You're back in town.
Yeah.
Amazing vacation. Looking all tanned.
I look orange. But seriously, okay, so while on vacation, I stumbled on this show called Marriage or Mortgage. So once I, dove into it, I'm like, oh, because at first I wasn't going to watch it. But then once you turn it on, you're like, okay, really? So I just knew that the people were going to pick something that I thought that they were going to pick. But of course, they picked the total opposite. So how the show goes is that they don't give it to you. The couples, there's a couple for each segment, and they've saved anywhere from 25 to 30K. And so they have to pick where they want their money to go. Will it be towards the wedding, or will it be towards a mortgage? And, it goes through a story of each couple. It's really, the show is kind of emotional too. It starts off on, which one of the couples are for the marriage, and then the other couple is for the mortgage. So they'll say why they would prefer to get married, and the other couple will say why they prefer to have, the home. And, so it's a really good show. I really employ everybody to watch it. But have you ladies, I told you both about it, so I'm hoping that you watched it. Did y'all watch it?
I did not, but I have the general concept down.
Okay. Ariel, did you watch it?
I did watch it, and it was interesting. Like you said, some couples that you thought were going to choose the mortgage chose the wedding, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I think a 30K budget for a wedding is very good. I know some people that can throw some very nice weddings for less than that. And, you can always do a destination, which I don't think is cheaper, but it's, kind of, more robust. On the flip side, we see this all the time where we're either helping a newlywed purchase a home or a soon-to-be newlywed, which at that point they've chosen the mortgage. Kind of reminds me of my situation when I was ready to buy. I was really young. I was 23 years old when I purchased my house. Also getting engaged, and we chose the mortgage.
Ding, ding,
so,
ding.
Yeah, right. At that time, I was a real estate agent. It's a no-brainer. I'm getting commission and I'm buying a house, so it made more sense to me at that point to do the mortgage. Now, did I ever have a wedding after that? No, I did not. So I chose the mortgage indefinitely. We never actually had a wedding. So sometimes I do regret that. You can always change that, but it's the moment, that you miss out on, I think.
Right. So Cher, what do you think? Do you think marriage or mortgage?
Well, I want it all. So I had to have the marriage and the mortgage. So I did get the mortgage like Ariel, like at 23, I did buy my first house. And before I said, if I'm going to have a big wedding, which it was really my mom's wedding, but it was her dream wedding that she never had. But I nonetheless enjoyed it. So I bought the house and then I had the big wedding as well. But that was marriage number 1 for me. I'm going on number 3. So I believe in the wedding whole
We love our Cher. We just love our Cher.
I mean, why not have both? Buy more real estate and have a wedding.
And have a wedding.
Some financial planning.
So the good thing is now you already have the house, but you're planning the wedding now. So I have a question for you. Can you do a wedding for $30K? Seriously?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my first wedding wasn't that cheap, but I think if you're doing a destination wedding, you get it. I mean, I won't spend over $30K at this wedding. And I'm getting married at my dream destination in Turks and
Maybe
Caicos.
it's me, but I thought the $30K was low for a wedding. So I've never had a wedding. We went
okay.
Are we in the same situation?
Yes. Yes.
Oh gosh, you guys have to have now.
I was 20 and broke. So that's the reason why we didn't.
Listen, how old was I? I think I was 27 when we got married. Or maybe younger than that. Shit, I don't remember. I've been married for 10 years, y'all.
Yeah, we did not have a wedding. We went to, it was a seafood restaurant afterwards, and everybody came. So we did have a kind of reception
party. Yeah.
At I forgot the name of the restaurant, but it was perfect. I think sometimes maybe just a little bit every now and then when I'm at weddings. Put it that way. Not like now. Do I wish I want? No, but if I'm at a wedding and I'd be like, oh, it would have been nice to do this.
So but I don't do it.
It's the planning part that scares me. Like, I don't feel like planning, all of that. Like, I would elope if there were a situation where, there would be a wedding. I would just elope with a little bit of people, which you can definitely do for under 30,000.
Right. Yeah. Well, I love a party, so I don't think I would be able to do that.
I'm coming to the party, okay? We're coming to the party.
But that is a tough question at an early age. Like, Arnita, I'm just thinking about being young and if you had to choose between one or the other, especially if you're getting married in your early 20s, I think if I had to choose, I would have chosen a mortgage. But then I wonder if I would have had regrets looking back, and maybe not so much because I'm on marriage number 3, but I mean, I could have saved all that money for marriage number 1.
Right.
Had a lot more real estate.
Right.
Wow. So question, I know Cher says both, but you and I, Ariel, both are like one, the mortgage. We would pick the mortgage. So what are some reasons why you understand why people?
Uh-oh, she's frozen. I think I know what she was about to ask.
Did y'all hear that?
No.
What happened?
I have a magic button on my computer that can pause you.
I don't know why that happened. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry, y'all. So what are some reasons why you would think that the person would rather have the wedding? Because I mean, some of the stories on that show had me I was crying. So there are some reasons why I do understand why people would pick the wedding. What do you think are some reasons people would pick the wedding over the mortgage?
I think a lot of people just aren't, as educated on the benefits of home ownership. So they're not thinking about the practicality of that in that moment. They're thinking about love, and they're thinking about making memories and wanting to look back at pictures. And then some people are just ignorant and want to floss on social media with like a really extravagant wedding and photos and all of that. I just think that it's hard to say 100% I want a mortgage when you have dreamed of something all your life. Like for some people, if you haven't dreamed of it, I guess, I'm a hopeless romantic. I believe in love and butterflies and all that. So for me, I always pictured my wedding day. If I never had a wedding, I would have been super sad to look back and not have experienced all of it. At the same time, I think, I would have been really sad though if I hadn't bought my first house before I got married, and then looked back and I was like, wait, I'm divorced and I don't have a house. Like, you know. So the practicality piece, I think, is tough when you're completely and utterly in love and thinking about like memories and creating those memories with your significant other.
Yeah. What do you think, Ariel?
I think it has a lot to do with where you are in your life. So for some of the couples, I noticed that they had a growing family. That can put a lot of pressure on you to choose the mortgage first, just because, you know, you need somewhere to live. You know, some people were staying with their parents. You know, you're getting married. It's a rush to, you know, basically get your own space. And then for people that choose marriage, you know, like I said, it's about where you are in your life. If you know, this is where you know what you want to do first, or you like Cher said, you want to make the memories. That's what you choose first. But I also think too, it's religious. Some people want to be married first before they have kids, and maybe there's some pressure on age. There's some pressure on, you know, reproductive systems, stuff like that, where, you know, you're thinking, you know, religiously that you want to get married first, which was my angle. I wanted to get married first and then have a child. And I was going through a lot of health, you know, issues at the time too. So for me, the timing to get a mortgage was right on time for me. But, you know, some people, it's more pressure on, you know, family, peer pressure within the family. Maybe the mom or the dad want grandchildren and they need to, you know, more space, or, you know, it's just a matter of where you are in your life.
I so agree with that. It was one scenario that pissed me off though, because they did choose the wedding. And then at the end, it said that they moved back in with his parents and to save up for the apartment. Why? Like, seriously, so you guys spent the money on the wedding to move in back in with your parents, so then you'll be apartment shopping. I just don't see where, you know, so I think just like Cher said, you know, the educational piece of it, or, you know, maybe a man trying to make the woman happy, you know, because a lot of those scenarios were the man was trying to make the woman, you know, happy and fulfill her dream. But so I just sometimes I don't get that. I don't get why you would have the wedding and then move in with your family. Have y'all ever heard of that?
I haven't, but I also I mean, yes, but I think that's the case of, like Cher said, wanting to have it all in stages.
Right.
No, I want it all at the same time though.
Granted, I'm not meaning it like, you know, you happen to move into, because how we moved into my house that we're in now, we rented out our townhouse and then we moved in with my father-in-law to save up money. So, but I'm just meaning the point of spending all of that money to still stay with family. So I just feel like that they could have used
the opportunity of the $30,000 and they didn't take that opportunity.
Right. Yeah. I also think that most of those buyers were first-time buyers, because I mean, situation now, let's say, you know, two people meet and they both own homes already. You don't need to make a decision on marriage or mortgage right that second.
Right.
You know, it's not mandatory because you both have properties. You can move into one and rent the other out as an investment. So I think a lot of the buyers on the show were first-time buyers too. And I think, you know, I didn't come across anybody that had been married before either.
Yeah, it was only one couple that one of them were married before.
I don't think I got to that one. I watched like 4 episodes.
Yeah, just one of them were married before, and she had a house with her previous wife. So, but most of them were first-time home buyers, honestly.
Yeah. And then that goes into the education piece. Like Cher said, most first-time homebuyers are learning the process as well. So they don't know the value in choosing the mortgage side and the investment side of things.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just think it, like I said, for me, I think it's about where you are in your life, what you choose.
Definitely. I agree.
And then it has, you want to, like you said, some of those people wanted to, please their spouse or wife, and their wife really wanted the wedding.
Yeah.
So, I guess it depends on your situation.
Definitely. So I think we all took a poll on our Instagram pages. What was everybody's feedback on the poll? I think I had 2 people that said that they wanted the wedding. They just didn't respond back to me, but because I wanted to reach out to them.
So my responses were interesting because I kind of narrowed it down based on age groups and who'd been married before and who hadn't. So the people that had been married before all chose mortgages because clearly they got divorced. So they're like, if we could do it all over again, we would have bought. I would have bought a house, and then if we got divorced, we could have split the money or whatever. The younger demographic, like under 35, that had never been married, they would choose the marriage, the wedding.
Now that seems about right.
Yeah. So, which I mean, I get to a certain
think about it that way. So,
generation driven. Do y'all think?
Say that again.
Is that generation driven?
I think so. I mean, to a certain extent, it matters more if you've been married before or not, or if you own a house already. Because I remember when I first started in this business, I mean, I was young too, like 25, 26. And I remember my girlfriends, even though they were all successful at that point in time in their lives and growing in their careers and everything, a lot of my girlfriends were like, why would you buy a house, Cher? Why would you buy a house without being married? Because I wasn't married yet. And I'm like, well, one thing doesn't have anything to do with the other for me. I'm of the mindset that I'm building wealth. And if, my significant other doesn't want to own a house, that's his choice, but I'm definitely going to own property. So it was a very kind of old school mentality in that I'm a single woman. I shouldn't be buying a house by myself.
So, go ahead.
I couldn't wrap my mind around that as a single woman. I was just like, what does that have to do with anything? You're building equity, building wealth. You guys can buy another house together. It's not like anything's going to stop you from renting your current house out. But a lot of people just weren't raised that way. I mean, and they didn't know enough about buying a home and equity and leveraging equity to purchase more property and all of that. They were just really in the dark, including myself. I'm very self-educated on the whole buying a home process. I mean, I tried to force my mom to buy me a condo in college and she said no, but that would have been a great first opportunity for me to buy a house. I would have had a ton of equity to buy my next house. I just think people just don't know at that stage. But now the buyer and the potential wife is far more educated than they were 20 years ago. And I think that women feel a lot differently now about buying their first house without having been married or having a fiance or what have you. So I do think it's a little bit different. It may not be drastic, but there's differences in the last 20 years for sure.
I totally agree. And that's why I asked about generational, because times have changed over the years. So I read something in NAR, and this was pre-COVID. So this was 2019. The statistics came out and it said that more single women are becoming first-time home buyers than ever. And this was in 2019. That was the largest group of people next to married couples, obviously. But more single women were stepping out and buying property. and becoming first-time home buyers. So that really that statistic right there supports your thought that you just had about, you know, and basically what you went through too.
And I can see that because, you know, like especially living in the DMV and being around very successful women who can afford to do especially buy a house by themselves. Why let that stop you from home ownership just because, you know, you don't have a husband or you don't have a potential fiance or what have you? Like one doesn't have to go with the other. Like you can just buy more property. It's not like you're limited to buying one property your whole life. But I think that we have just been traditionally, as women, guided in that direction to say, okay, we wait until, you know, the man is ready and then we get married and then we buy a house together. And that's how it was traditionally. And now women today are like, wait a second, we're totally able to afford a home by ourselves. Why not do this? And why wait? Why pay the man more? Why pay the mortgage on their building that they built? You know, why not pay the mortgage on our house or my house?
So are you saying to go with what comes first, or step out there as a single woman with an income and see what your purchasing power is?
Absolutely. Out there. I mean, I would say 90% of my buyer clientele are single women. Like that's the majority of my demographic. I would say it's rare that I get couples. It's most of my clientele are single women of color.
And I would even say I'm starting to have the one of them, either the man or the woman, have the house already, and they're, you know, they've already had the wedding, and then they're moving on, you know. So one of them have already had a property, so they're not worried about, you know, the wedding. They're just ready to buy the house now. So I love that. And I would say that I definitely will recommend buy your house as soon as you can, you know, and especially, you know, you don't have to wait for anybody to buy a house, you know, buy it as soon as you can. I love it, Cher, that you bought it early on. Yeah.
I would say most of my buyers are single women like Cher, or they're newlyweds, or about to be married soon, or the guy is going to propose or pop the question or something of that nature. So,
They hope.
They hope.
I mean, you kind of know, but yes, you hope, but you kind of know, you know. Me personally, I'm not signing no deed with somebody I'm not planning to, you know, be with. So they kind of know, and that's the trust issue. Like if we can sign on a dotted line to buy a house together, then the ring better be near or close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
but does it have to be? I mean,
it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean,
the way deeds are set up.
I'm going to be like, just make sure I'm holding title the proper way.
So, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That is no problem. 50-50 and we're good to go.
Yeah. Right. And we actually got the scoop on how to share title. We can talk about that on our next show.
That's a good
one. But yeah, I mean, you know,
the best way to share title is to be on the deed with not having to pay the mortgage.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. Okay. We don't need to give these tips to everyone. That's the best tip.
Right.
Yeah. No, we have it dead set on. Seriously. Yeah, this show really it taught me both sides. You know, I can sympathize for the people who really wanted to have a wedding, but I guess the realtor in me is more so buy the house. You know, you can have, and one of them had a big backyard, so I'm like, have your wedding in your backyard.
Yes. Oh my God, improvise nowadays.
Yes,
you know, what you can do for a wedding.
COVID, there's been some amazing things outside I've seen.
Right, stepping outside the box.
Yeah, so just stepping outside but
your wedding at closing.
Yeah, Oh, that would be the bomb. So I sympathize with the people who really want to have a wedding too. I understand. It's no judgment here. I just say get the house. That's it.
But would you feel the same way if you knew these specific statistics? In 2019, there were 16.3 new marriages for every 1,000 women and 15 in the United States, which went down. So marriages are actually going down versus upwards. And then divorce rates went down as well. So is it supporting the fact that you can still, buy a house and get married and your life may not fall apart, but there is a 50-50 chance that it will on the first marriage. And then it goes up to 60% on the second marriage. And then 73% divorce on the third marriage. So Darren and I have to keep it tight because we have a 73%.
73%. So I'm going to be checking on y'all.
Bro, listen, I need to see these stats after COVID, after this whole quarantine situation. I need to see the stats from 2020.
This was 2019.
Oh, okay.
Before COVID, though. So everybody had a chance to be locked in with their soon-to-be spouse, and maybe they made a change.
Yeah, we definitely need the 2020 statistics.
I need to see that. Run that back.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get back to you on that one. I only have 2019 for now. I don't know that they've updated it, but the stats are very high for divorce, which means like if you were going to make a smart choice, you'd probably go with the mortgage versus the marriage. But some people don't care about that, right? Like money's money. It's not that important to them. They want the whole experience and, that
I totally understand.
feeling of that day that they've been waiting for their entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
I so agree with you.
But I do call all my friends, but I feel like they're all over 40 for the most part. So of course they're going to pick mortgage. Mm. But my question to them was, would you have felt this way 20 years ago? And they all said no. So I do think it has a lot to do with maturity and, seeing the world and all of that, because at 23 or 20 or whatever, you're probably going to pick the wedding if you're younger versus.
Yeah, because if we had money, I would have picked the wedding.
Yeah, see?
I would have.
But now you know.
Yeah, so I don't regret it. I don't regret it, but I would have picked the wedding. I would have, in a heartbeat.
So what if you guys had clients, let's make this a little juicy. What if you guys had clients that were newlyweds and they told you that they were going to be on this show and they wanted your personal advice and you knew one was all the way on this spectrum and one was all the way on this spectrum? What kind of guidance would you give them? Because they're asking for your professional opinion as their agent.
Ariel, you go first.
I'm always about the investment and the wealth strategy. So, as your agent, your real estate agent, I'm going to advise you to purchase the home.
Even though you know that the female client really wants a big wedding?
So I would still push the home and really give reasons why. And then I would find them a bomb wedding planner that can do a very nice wedding for a budget. For real. Because like you, maybe they're happy with both. And we can figure out budget-wise how to make both happen. Because I can do a lot with $30,000 on a purchase side of things. It's so many creative ways to purchase a house now. You might not need $30,000. We might can do $20,000 towards your purchase of your house and do $10,000 for a wedding, which I know a lot of wedding planners that could make something happen for $10,000. It's just really about
give me that
what you want. But as a real estate agent, and I know the return on investment on property in this area, and then also what it takes to purchase a property outright and what type of loans are out there, $30,000 for me is a lot of money to work with. So
But
I would push that.
market specific, like to what the market's doing, because 5 years ago I would have been like, "Oh, you need no money to buy a house."
Yes,
Navy
yes,
Federal,
that's true.
you.
You need no
Now
money
I'm like,
down.
no Navy Federal. That's going to take 45 to 60 days to close. We are not winning any offers with Navy Federal.
Oh my God.
No shade, Navy, but facts. So it's just
I got receipts.
exactly.
I'm in one now.
Right. Okay.
No, so I don't know.
You're torn. You're torn.
I am. I'm torn. I would tell. First of all, I would ask how much y'all got saved.
Right.
Okay, let me make it more dramatic. We have zero money saved, and we know we're about to go on this show, and they're going to give us $30,000, and we have to make a decision. So we can't have both. We can only pick one or the other. And you know, one of them really wants a wedding, and the other one really wants a house.
So the house, I would say the house, but now I'm add on a little bit more to that, Cher. Okay, well, do y'all have money to pay the mortgage every month? So
yeah, because it's the same as our rent. I mean, it was our mortgage amount is the same as our rent.
Okay, then I would say definitely buy the house. Buy the house, and then just like I'm actually everything that Ariel said I would do. Exactly.
So basically you want me to take my dream wedding away and not be able to look back on these memorable photos and with me and my husband 20 years from now, 50 years, I have nothing to show my grandchildren, and you still think this is a good idea?
That's correct, because I can throw a bomb house party. And we're going to help you throw the reception. Go to the Justice of the Peace, and we're going to help you throw. I'm going to help you throw and Cher. I'm going to help you throw a bomb house party in your house that you will not ever, no one will forget. Bingo.
Ain't nothing wrong with Justice of the Peace. That's where I got married at.
It's not.
Well, I should have known with a group of 3 realtors that we were going to side with mortgage versus marriage. So should the audience.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So,
any final thoughts, ladies, as we proceed on advising clients between the controversial issue of of marriage versus mortgage?
that we do not judge. We employ you to pick what you want to pick, but Ariel and I are team mortgage.
With one person going on a deed. Let's be clear. Let's be clear.
Cher's on the fence. I mean, the lover in me picks marriage. The responsible wealth builder picks mortgage. That's why I say I need to have it all. So exactly. I'll work twice as hard to get everything that I want.
That's a good one. I love that too.
So, right, wrapping up today, ladies. Until the next time, this is the Queens of the DMV, Real Talk in Real Estate. Tune in every Thursday. Please subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We love to hear from you. Share your comments and potential topics, and we will see you next time. Signing off, this is Cher Castillo. My co-host,
Arnita Greene.
And Arial Pegues. Until next time.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.